back, shoulders, triceps, and biceps on this machine. I enjoy this. This is a single arm pull down. I have that Titan bench completely vertical, and then the base of the bench is up against the base of the tower. I hook one handle to both carabiners, and this is kind of in between a barbell row, maybe like a prone row, and a lat pull down or a pull up. I like this movement. It gets a really good stretch, and when you pull all the way to the bottom, you can see there, you can kind of twist a little bit, get a little more contraction out of it. Seated rows. I feel like you could probably do about 9 or 10 variations of this. I like to use these handles. I have a 2x4 in between my feet and the base of the machine. One, it holds the machine still completely, and also adds a range of motion there, having that 2x4 there. Usually I have a 2x6, but with 7 kids, things go missing. Instead of buying a bar for these rows, I just get a cambered bar, what you would typically use for preacher curls, and I loop it or put it through the handles, and you can go overhand, underhand. Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates, I believe, both did overhand from all the videos and pictures that I've seen. Underhand obviously is going to get a little bit more bicep work out of it. Next, I rarely do these. This is a little too much weight right here, but these are face pulls. This is a good trap upper back. It's very similar to an upright row, but it's going to engage a little bit more of your upper back. You could call this upper back or shoulder exercise. The pullovers, think of this exercise as if you were lying flat on a bench on your back and you were pulling a barbell over your head from the ground. Arnold was a fan of these. He used a dumbbell, I think. I like using a barbell. Whenever you do those, you do not get a good contraction. With this movement, you can get a good contraction because the tension is continuous. With a barbell, once you get it over your head and your arms are completely vertical, you've lost all tension. And the contraction really is the most important part of that. All right, crucifix laterals. You can see that is an ankle strap. I think they might be advertised as wrist straps, possibly. It Velcro, wraps around, Velcros onto your wrist, as I am beautifully demonstrating there. Put both of those on and then hook each wrist into one of the carabiners, so you're using both cables at the same time. I've really enjoyed these versus a dumbbell lateral. The idea is with the dumbbell lateral, if you're standing, as you're going to laterally raise the dumbbell, you do not really have complete tension from that dumbbell the entire time. You might hear a blinker. I'm not driving. Someone else is driving. FYI. This, you have tension the entire time. And then also remember, there's 3 different ways to build strength: eccentric, concentric, and static. So I like to give a good static hold at the top. Kind of think about the contraction at the very top and holding it. Front delts. Try not to get kicked in the face by a 2-year-old. I rarely do front delt isolation movement like this. This isn't really something that I would do, but it's a good variation if you like to do it. This would be similar to a front barbell or dumbbell raise, and it eliminates a lot of the movement that your upper body would have, possibly swinging the weight and not engaging the muscle completely, or you're putting a little too much English into it and you're not getting the best contraction possible. this is a good exercise. I just don't really do them very often. Next, we're setting up for rear delt raises. You can leave that bench in the same spot, raise up the carriage, as they call it. Raise that up and bury your face into that pad and get a good rear delt focused exercise right here. This versus using handles, when you use these wrist straps, you can move your wrists around. Your wrists aren't stationary. Preacher curls, these are great with this machine. The idea being is when you curl with a barbell or your cambered bar on a preacher curl machine, when the weight is all the way at the top, you lose tension on your bicep, right? So your bicep could actually relax if you're lifting the weight all the way up. With these, there's tension the entire time. So whenever you're contracting at the top, it's a really good under tension contraction. I happen to be doing hammer curls right here. You can do them supinated, pronated, however you like to keep your wrists. I like the lower bicep and wrist engagement with hammer curls. I've kind of always done those. Remember, if you're just wearing a t-shirt, what's showing? Your forearms, right? So forearm engagement is good. You need to look like you work out. That little kid was getting frustrated with it slowing down. Blaster bar curls. I did a review on these, a 60-second review. This is from Titan. This keeps your shoulder stationary. It won't move around. I have a degenerating AC joint in my right shoulder, so barbell curls irritate my shoulder. With this, it keeps my shoulder completely tight. It doesn't move it around, and it's almost like a preacher curl. It's not quite the same angle, but it's great. And then again, flip your handles around, change your grips. You can pronate your hands a little bit more with a hammer curl like this. Again, it's not the best contraction, but it's a change in stimulus. It's a good thing to do. And if you don't have a preacher curl bench, then here's some incline curls. Flip that bench around, hook the carabiner from your handle into both of the carabiners on the machine. And I'm doing too much weight there. My right arm looks huge because of the angle. That's always good. And yeah, these are great. You can change the angle of this. You could lower it a little bit. Just target it in different ways. Tricep pushdowns. This is your very basic exercise. You can use a rope, straight barbell. I happen to have a V-bar from Titan. It's a, I don't even know what they call it. But this isn't the best engagement for triceps because they're not completely stretched. The contraction is pretty good. It's not the best, but you can go a little bit heavier on these than other tricep exercises. And I'll show you kind of my go-to. I don't, the triceps are at the end of my workouts. Triceps tend to be the better part of my arm, and I just really don't work them out often. I kind of just take for granted that they're the better part of my arm than my bicep is. So drop the weight right here. We're going to do overhead extensions and keep the V-bar on there. Again, you could use a rope or a straight bar, but for extensions, I like the grip of this V-bar. The benefit of this exercise is that your tricep is stretched at the bottom, right? So you want to lengthen the muscle in the stretch, and then you want to shorten it with the contraction. The little hold at the top there. Stan Efferding talked about that, how the best way to grow your triceps is for your elbow to be pointed at the ceiling. What he's saying is your arm is stretched overhead and it's stretching, or your arm is pointed overhead and it's stretching your tricep. So this is a great way to do it. This is probably my favorite tricep exercise. I feel like it has the most engagement. If you need to force out a couple of reps, you can use your, like right there, use your upper body to force them out and get a little extra work done. I'm definitely forcing those out. Awesome. Thanks for watching.